ABC, this is World News Tonight, with Barbara Walters reporting on the John Wayne story. Part 1 of a special assignment series assessing President Carter's performance and problems. And from our desk in Washington, Frank Reynolds.
Good evening. President Carter today proposed his version of a limited national health care plan, a program that would begin in 1983 and would include protection for all Americans from catastrophic illness costs. It is on the issue of health care that the President and Senator Edward Kennedy of Massachusetts are most sharply divided. And that division was re-emphasized today. Here's a report from White House correspondent David Garcia.
President Carter brought some key members of Congress to the announcement, senators and congressmen whose support is crucial to his step-by-step approach to ensure all Americans against health costs. Conspicuously absent was Senator Edward Kennedy, and while the president did not mention Kennedy by name, he blasted Kennedy's concept.
There are those who sincerely believe that we must insist upon a full-scale, comprehensive plan enacted all at once. But I must say in all candor that no child of poverty, no elderly American, no middle-class family has yet benefited from a rigid and unswerving commitment to this principle of all or nothing.
The president's idea is called the National Health Plan, a phased approach ending with a comprehensive plan in 1990. It includes a $2,500 limit on what working families would have to spend in a year to cover the cost of illness. For poor people, there's a total subsidy. All pregnant women are covered with prenatal, delivery, and infant service costs, with a first-year price tag to the taxpayers of just over $18 billion.
The National Health Plan will rid this nation of the fear of financial ruin from catastrophic illness.
The president pointed to those on stage with him as proof of widespread support. And while supportive, they also found room for improvement.
We'll try to take the best that he has to offer and the best that we can offer and bring the Senate a bill.
There is rhetoric, there is controversy, there is politics in this issue that affects every person in the United States. But when you consider the similarities, the controversy can be submerged, and I believe the controversy will be submerged.
But on Capitol Hill, the person many feel must be convinced wasn't.
We cannot afford it. It is too inflationary and too inequitable. By failing to set a national budget, by inadequately controlling hospital costs, by failing to control doctors' fees in the private sector, by perpetuating two separate and unequal systems of care, the president's plan may well become the straw that breaks the back of the American healthcare system.
Senator Kennedy's response came as no surprise here. One senior staffer reading the Kennedy press release called it a political document, attacking the president with an eye on 1980. David Garcia, ABC News, the White House.
In a moment, a report on the passing of John Wayne.
You work hard for your money and you want to do the right things with it. So get professional answers to confusing financial questions like these.
I've got about $1,000 to invest. I've heard about savings certificates, government notes, and other things. I'm single. What's best for me?
What's best for you? Your full-service bank has the answers.
We paid the mortgage on our house down to a small amount, while the market value of the house skyrocketed. Would it be smart at our age to remortgage and use the money in some other way?
There's a lot to consider. But once again, see your full-service bank. They've got the answers.
On our vacation, we're going to look for a condominium.
Yeah, but how'll I make the down payment away from home?
When you need answers to questions like these and the services to back them up, you've got them. When you bank behind this symbol, America's full-service banks, we've got the answers.
President Carter issued a statement today about the death of John Wayne. Mr. Carter said, in an age of few heroes, he was the genuine article. John Wayne's long battle against cancer came to an end last night when he passed away at the UCLA Medical Center. Here's Barbara.
Frank, John Wayne's funeral will be Friday, and according to his wishes, it will be private. His eldest son, Michael, said today, Dad lived with dignity, and he wanted his funeral services conducted the same way. He personally didn't care for funerals. He liked to remember people as they were. From Los Angeles, where John Wayne lived and worked, here's Stephen Gere.
29 years ago, when John Wayne put his boot prints into the cement at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, he had been a star for more than a decade. He died yesterday evening at 5:35 at the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles, and the qualities of strength and courage that helped make Wayne a star were evident to hospital personnel in his final hours.
Mr. Wayne died in a coma. He had been having considerable pain for some time. He was under medication. At times he denied medication. He wanted to be awake. He wanted to be with his children, his grandchildren.
John Wayne underwent 2 cancer operations at UCLA this year after recovering from open heart surgery last year and removal of a cancerous lung in 1964. This year, the UCLA Medical Center switchboard has been flooded with calls from fans and admirers, and today tributes came from around the world, including one from San Clemente.
John Wayne was true grit on and off the screen. The roles he played and the life he lived will inspire Americans for generations to come.
40 years ago, Wayne starred in the classic Western film Stagecoach with actor John Carradine. Today, Carradine remembered the Duke.
He was a man for all men and all women. Men liked him, as well as women admired him. He was a hell of a guy.
Just 3 years ago, with Lauren Bacall and with Carradine, John Wayne made his last film, The Shootist, the story of a gunfighter dying of cancer. The producer was Mike Frankovich.
The Duke felt just as the man in the picture did, that he wanted to die with his boots on, and I think he did, in both the picture and in real life. He was battling and fighting right to the end.
Here in the motion picture capital of the world, the flags are at half-staff today. Stephen Gere, ABC News, Hollywood.
He was born in 1907 in Winterset, Iowa, the son of a druggist. His family moved to Southern California when he was 6. There he learned to ride horses. He wanted to be a lawyer, but instead became a Hollywood stuntman. Director John Ford took notice of his ambition and threw some parts his way. He made dozens of cheap westerns, and then in 1939 he made the film that turned him into a star, John Ford's classic western, Stagecoach, co-starring Claire Trevor.
Look, Miss Dallas, you got no folks. Neither have I. And, well, maybe I'm taking a lot for granted,
But you don't know me. You don't know who I am.
I know all I want to know. Here you go.
John Wayne made over 200 films. Even he didn't know the exact number. And he was the greatest box office draw in the world for over 25 years. But his worldwide fame made his personal life difficult. He was married 3 times, all to Latin American women. And altogether he had 7 children and 21 grandchildren. On screen, John Wayne was the inevitable hero. He never served in the armed forces, but he fought the enemy on film throughout the Second World War. It was during the Vietnam War that he got the reputation of being a hawk. The movie Green Berets personified his point of view. He defended the war, and this offended a lot of people. But Wayne always felt he had not just the right, but the duty to speak out.
If I want things to be done, I feel that I have to be a part of it. I can't shirk it off onto somebody else. If I feel that I have something that is worthwhile saying, I say it.
But his views could not be categorized. He surprised many by working to help Jimmy Carter pass the Panama Canal Treaty. He also advocated the release of Patty Hearst. 10 years ago, he made the movie True Grit, playing the part of a tough old gunslinger. The film won him his only Academy Award. But True Grit could also serve to characterize the man. He fought a battle with cancer for 15 years, survived heart surgery and more operations for cancer. And in April, erect and smiling, he appeared for the last time before an audience at the Academy Awards. past winter, John Wayne talked with us for what was to be his last interview. He told us how he felt about life and death.
Listen, I spoke to the man up there on many occasions, and I have, but I've always had deep faith that there is a supreme being. There has to be. You know, it's just, to me, that's just a normal thing to have that kind of faith. The fact that he's let me stick around a little longer, or she's let me stick around a little longer, certainly goes great with me. And I want to hang around as long as I'm healthy and not in anybody's way.
Do you fear death?
I don't look forward to it because it's, as you know, I mean, I don't care what faith you have. Maybe he isn't the kind of a father that I have to my children. Maybe he's a little different. Maybe he won't be as nice to me as I think he will. But I think he will.
That was John Wayne's last interview. We taped it one day before he went into the hospital, ostensibly for a gallbladder operation. But he had the feeling, he told us, that the doctors might find something more. And I think that's why he did the interview. A few years ago, Wayne decided I was getting rough treatment from the press, as he had from time to time. And although we'd never met, he wrote and said, "Hang in there." That's how our relationship began, and it led to our talk on camera. There were some things Wayne wanted people to know, that he was worried about what inflation could do to this country, that he considered the capitalistic system the best in the world, and that he was at peace with himself. John Wayne left behind a large and devoted family, 7 children and 21 grandchildren. But in truth, there isn't one of us who knew him or watched him on screen who doesn't feel tonight like one of the family. We'll have a special program on John Wayne, Homage to the Duke, tonight at 11:30, 10:30 Central Time.
Don't blink. It's Bulova watch time. We offer time to you in more beautiful ways than anyone else in the world. In fact, when this commercial is over, there will still be over 500 different Bulova watches that you haven't seen. That's, whoops, you blinked, Bulova watch time.
This flash unit's been going all night, and it's going to keep on going, because this is no regular battery. This is alkaline, ever-ready alkaline. Of all leading brands, you can't buy a longer-lasting, all-purpose power cell than AA size, ever-ready alkaline for the typical movie camera or flash. So when you want long-lasting energy for these devices, get AA size, ever-ready alkaline. Call ever-ready alkaline regular. I dare you.
This is the famous Académie du Vin, the only school of wine tasting in all of Paris. Its founder, Stephen Spurrier, recently tasted Taylor California Cellars Rosé wine.
I think what's remarkable about California Cellars Rosé is that it's so well made. So fresh, so fruity, so well balanced, and so easy and pleasant to drink. I think for table wine rosé, this is probably the best bet there is.
Taylor California Cellars, a better rosé. Judge for yourself.
I've got something here you're really gonna love. Trust me, trust me. It's new Wonder Bond glue. With Wonder Bond, you can glue glass, china, plastic or metal in just seconds. And 1 drop of Wonder Bond is strong enough to hold up to 5,000 pounds. You still don't trust me? Then trust this. It's from Elmer's. Stick with a name you can trust. New Elmer's Wonder Bond.
A U.S. Air Force transport plane today evacuated 61 Americans from Nicaragua and flew them away from the civil war there to the Panama Canal Zone. The evacuees were mostly women and children. Bill Stewart has more on the fighting in Nicaragua today.
National Guard planes fired rockets into Managua neighborhoods yesterday and today, hoping to kill Sandinistas on the ground while avoiding heavy casualties themselves from a constant stream of sniper fire. Some of the National Guard rockets hit this church, killing an old man and 5 children. The Sandinistas, frequently teenagers wearing bandanas to hide their identities, use firepower and roadblocks to protect their positions. But the National Guard has better weapons supplied by the United States and Israel, and the only airplanes, giving them clear military superiority. Superiority used to bomb this opposition newspaper in a poor neighborhood yesterday, and the homes of a growing stream of refugees who fear that their families will be bombed next. These people are refugees, among those hurt most by this fighting. And yet at this refugee center, everyone we have talked with says he supports the Sandinistas and would stay and fight with them if only he had the weapons to do so. This is a Catholic refugee center. Sunday it had 800 people. Today, 2 days later, several thousand. Bill Stewart, ABC News, Managua, Nicaragua.
The State Department said today the man who hijacked a Delta Airlines jetliner to Cuba last night is believed to be the former Cuban Air Force pilot who flew a MiG jet to Florida when he defected from Cuba 10 years ago. The airliner arrived in Miami early this morning with all passengers and crew members safe. Cuban authorities took the hijacker into custody in Havana and released the plane and its passengers shortly afterward. 3 persons were killed today when a twin-engine DC-3 crashed shortly after takeoff from an airport in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's the second DC-3 crash in the past 24 hours. A U.S. Forest Service DC-3 caught fire and lost an engine before going down in a crash yesterday in north-central Idaho. 1 person is known dead, and 9 others are still missing after that crash.
Do the Special K pinch. Uh-oh.
Oh, what?
I just did the Special K pinch.
What's that?
A little test to see if you need to watch your weight. If you can pinch more than an inch, you probably do. And I did.
I bet I know what you're having for breakfast.
Can you pinch more than an inch? Try the Special K breakfast. Protein, vitamins, iron, just 240 calories. Make high-protein Kellogg's Special K cereal part of your complete diet plan.
Uh-oh.
Do the Special K pinch.
Still busy.
Hey, why is my favorite lawyer so tense?
Sorry. The doctor says caffeine makes me nervous.
Lois, you should drink Sanka-Brand, a caffeinated coffee.
But I only like real coffee.
Sanka-Brand is real coffee and tastes it. Try it.
It is real coffee. Delicious.
Lois, you look so relaxed.
Glad you noticed. Open and shut case for Sanka-Brand.
Sanka-Brand, the coffee that lets you be your best.
Boy, I really feel good all under.
Oh, Harry.
I got my Hanes underwear on. Wash after wash, my Hanes underwear goes back to the comfortable shape it had when I took it out of the package. You should try Hanes. Keeps its shape to make you feel good all under.
How many?
2 Hanes, please. 2 tickets, please.
Hanes makes you feel good all under.
$1 back for any 3 Hanes white cotton tops and briefs or boxers.
Ticks and fleas, a nightmare for your dog or cat. Dangerous creatures that make lovable pets suffer. That's why your pet needs the Hearts 2-in-1 Plus collar. The long-lasting collar that kills fleas, ticks, even ticks that spread Rocky Mountain spotted fever. The Hearts 2-in-1 Plus collar ends the nightmare of ticks and fleas. Long-lasting protection on your pet, so it protects your family.
Put the plus on your pet, the Hearts 2-in-1 Plus.
In a congressional hearing room today, the subject was the current gasoline shortage and the question, are the oil companies holding back on refining more gasoline? Roger Peterson has the story.
Energy Department officials told Congress oil company policies contributed to the gas shortage and higher prices. Because they feared Iranian oil production would not resume this year, Deputy Energy Secretary John O'Leary said the companies stockpiled crude oil and cut back on gasoline production.
I think they were too conservative. And that had the effect of increasing the shortfall in gasoline and forcing prices up.
At another point in a hearing that became a shouting match at times, energy officials answered charges they had failed to share information on oil production with the Federal Trade Commission. They said the FTC never asked for the figures.
There has not been a single statement that we have denied to the Federal Trade Commission or indeed to anyone else any data that were available to us that we properly could disseminate. Exactly. And therefore, how could we have denied it?
This is a circus. We will call Perchik now.
I
They'll
think
get
that's
a
what you
letter
ought to
over to
do.
you by 5 o'clock. Will you give them everything they asked for?
No. I have put bounds around what they will get.
O'Leary said he would provide what wasn't restricted by law and agreed to meet with the FTC to settle the problem. If there are any further difficulties, Rosenthal said he'd have Congress subpoena the information or ask for help from the president.
You gotta cooperate. I'm not kidding now. You have got. I'm telling you, we will break your...
Roger Peterson, ABC News, Washington.
Secretary of State Vance warned the Congress today that President Carter will probably veto any attempt by Congress to lift trade sanctions against the new government of Zimbabwe Rhodesia. But even as Vance testified, the Senate was preparing to vote on an amendment to lift those sanctions, and that vote could come tonight. Senator Henry Jackson of Washington uses very strong words tonight in a speech about the new arms limitation treaty with the Russians. Jackson will say that acceptance of SALT II will, quote, constitute appeasement in its purest form, reminiscent of British policy toward Nazi Germany in the 30s. That comes quite close to calling Jimmy Carter Neville Chamberlain, and the White House will surely not be pleased. Tonight, we begin a three-part special assignment series on the President and his conduct of the presidency. To begin, here is our White House correspondent, Sam Donaldson.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
It all began on a note of high expectation and goodwill. But as the months and years have gone by, the public's opinion of Jimmy Carter has steadily declined through successes as well as failures, so that now the expectation has been sharply reduced. And so has the goodwill.
This is the most inflationary, anti-consumer decision that has been made in the White House in this century.
People realize that Carter's abandoned the party.
I think the administration did throw in the towel without a fight on the issues of decontrol.
The president's problems include inflation, recession, the energy crisis, and the strategic arms debate. But none of them seems to be by itself responsible for Mr. Carter's decline. Instead, debate about the president and the way he does his job has come to be dominated by one central theme.
I think it's leadership. I think there's a theme running through all those particulars that you don't know where Jimmy Carter is going or is trying to take the country.
William Lee Miller, political scientist, presidential watcher, early student of Jimmy Carter, says that despite such admirable qualities as honesty and intelligence, the president simply hasn't made a strong impression on the public.
He doesn't arouse very strong emotions either way, and it would be a mark of his becoming a leader if there were people who hated him.
You mean if people actually hated him, he'd be a better leader?
That's right, because he would then have, the electricity would be flowing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
The White House media machine has been doing what it could lately to try to get the electricity flowing. The pomp is back. The speechwriting staff has been turned over. But the president can be his own worst enemy when, as a leader, he tries to rouse the country to his side. For he often sends confusing signals. On inflation.
All of you know how bad inflation is. And it will not get much better in the near future. I think the inflation rate is going to turn and go down in the foreseeable future after a few months.
And on energy?
The American people are willing to face the hard reality of the petroleum problem, and they are willing to see oil priced on a realistic basis. The American people have absolutely refused to accept a simple fact. We have an energy crisis. I'm not blaming the Congress. We've not had adequate support from Congress. It's necessary to stop aggravating the problem by blaming one another and by seeking out scapegoats.
But if some of the major problems are still fuzzy and unsolved, the vice president contends the reason is not failure of leadership.
We are confronted with factors that any president would have the same problems that we do. Runaway in energy costs that we can't control yet, because in past administrations they did not deal with the energy problem. We're dealing with it, but it takes time. I think President Carter's been doing an excellent job. He's been honest. He hasn't embarrassed the American people. He is able, and he's standing up and telling the truth and doing it in an open way. And I think that's what Americans want.
Then why is he so low in the polls?
Polls go up and down. I've been in politics, as I said, for a long time.
His go down.
They've also gone up, and they'll go up again.
But not yet. The polls are not yet going up for Mr. Carter. Americans are measuring leadership in more ways than honesty and openness, as we shall see tomorrow in the second of our series on Jimmy Carter's presidency. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, the White House.
I've been 1,000,000 miles around this world, and I've found it best to go with these. Barclays Traveler's Checks. Cashable all over because Barclays is all over in over 75 countries. That's why Barclays Traveler's Checks are cash.
Grazie.
Not questioned. Take Barclays Traveler's Checks and get a welcome for your money.
Step lively there.
In any language.
How do you spell relief?
When I get acid indigestion, I spell relief R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids spells relief. Clinical tests prove with Rolaids you get relief Tums can't beat. That's right, relief Tums can't beat. In fact, relief no other leading antacid can beat. How do you spell relief?
For heartburn? I know. R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Relief no other leading antacid can beat.
On the map, the English Channel doesn't appear all that wide, but the more than 20 miles between England and France represented a major challenge to a young man from California who today did something no one has ever done before. Greg Dobbs has the story.
Those magnificent men in their flying machines, they go up, tilly-up, they go down, tilly-up.
This flying machine is the Gossamer Albatross, a pedal-powered airplane or a bicycle with wings. More than $200,000 was at stake this morning, a prize put up by an English businessman for the first human-powered flight across the English Channel, 22 miles from the White Cliffs of Dover to Cop Green End. 70 pounds of plastic and polystyrene, wingspan longer than a DC-9, and a 135-pound engine by the name of Brian Allen. To go uppity-up-up, the engine pedals faster. For down-diddy-down-down, slower. And apart from the noise from boatloads of rescue teams and reporters, the Albatross itself was silent, if you don't count the huffing and puffing of the engine. Finally, the French coast. Shades of Charles Lindbergh.
Baby! Come on, Brian!
The engine had performed flawlessly, as if pedaling a bike 20 miles per hour for nearly 3 hours, and no coasting. Does the engine now view itself, like Lindbergh, as a celebrity?
I know I view myself as pretty tired.
Tired, but with the rest of the Albatross team, richer. Now they can afford a motor, but they probably don't want one. Greg Dobbs, ABC News, on the English Channel.
Thank you, Greg, and congratulations, Brian. That's our report on World News Tonight. For ABC News, good night.
From ABC, this has been World News Tonight. Tonight, homage for the Duke. An ABC News special on the death of John Wayne with Barbara Walters. Tonight at 11:30, 10:30 Central Time, here on ABC.
The local news is presented at 6 o'clock on Channel 2's News Watch. In today's news, there's more on the truckers' dissatisfaction with diesel fuel prices and some interesting political comments in a committee hearing on the transfers of some state employees. A facelift offer raises some questions, and there's a guitar picker school here in Music City. All these and more local news stories on News Watch, the 6 o'clock news on Channel 2.
Butch and Sundance are together again for the first time.
Stop the train! Why, you fellas want to get off?
When they were young enough, and man enough, and fool enough to try anything, and get away with it. Butch and Sundance, the early days, before the fame.